Welcome to Wild Diamonds, where we hunt for the rare and remarkable. My name is Paul, and welcome to a special episode on the debut week of my new dedicated gaming and streaming channel to my favorite game, the Hunter Call of the Wild. And despite not being a real-life hunter, even though I live in Kentucky, so it's kind of oxymoron, I happen to have been so surprised at loving this game so much. And I wanted to dive in and share my experience on playing all 18 reserves, all at different amounts, of course, but I do have all the DLCs. And before this June, I should say, the release of the new Peru Amazon map, I thought it'd be great to go ahead and rank all 18 maps, just my favorite. I am new to YouTube, and so I think it'd be a good way for me to let you kind of get to know who I am as a hunter. So, of course, this is a subjective list. But without further ado, let's dive into the rankings. And there are 18 maps. I will start off by just saying briefly that I don't think that EW, or Expansive Worlds, the developer, has made a bad map per se. But there are some that are more niche than others that are not necessarily as built for widespread appeal. But so that kind of kicks off the bottom of the list. And for me, this was going to be a common choice amongst the community. I watch all these videos of ranking reserves from creators. And for me, that's Mississippi Acres. And simply put here, this is just not a map that I have played much. So I do owe it a better chance to maybe reevaluate it at some time. And so if there's interest, I will do a stream and maybe attempt more of an alligator run. And I vacationed a lot in the South growing up, so I have an affinity for the region. And so I would like to play this more. What a beautiful start. But just want to show you briefly that I just had not played this map much. So just full transparency, of course, I've done a little bit of alligator hunting, but it's just not one that I have gotten to as well. The one thing I will note that it's just a negative for me is this winding river here. Because there's dense foliage around it, I will say that it's really hard just to kind of like see from like this point, for example, to like this point and see what's around just with the shape. So it was a frustrating start, and that's why I haven't come back. But I will say that I will reevaluate this when I have a better opinion of the map, and we'll see how it goes. Number 17, this pains me because from here I really like all these maps, and I've played all of them fairly extensively. Okay, so number 17 here is Rancho del Arroyo. And this is an amazing map, geographically wise. I love the landscape. It is very mountainous and rugged. If you're up here and wondering, how did I get up here on Rancho? Yeah, go explore the mountains a little bit. It's actually quite impressive. If you're up in this top corner, this is a really frustrating foliage lake that is an example of why this map ranks lower for me. I would just say for Rancho, this is a great map for running and gunning. And it does have a nice collection of some smaller species like the turkey, coyote, bobcat, and peccary, so that's fun. But ultimately, it's limited by its lack of high-class species. But yeah, this is a beautiful map. If you look at this, like that's a stunning landscape, and there is some fun to be had on the lake zones for sure. But there's just other maps where I prefer to hunt whitetail and mule deer more. But I also like myself a good desert, and this is an interesting landscape. So for it being the number 17, that really speaks to the strength of the game more so than the weakness of the map. So with that, we'll go to the next one, and let's go ahead and check on number 16 for me on my personal list. And this will all offend some people, but I'm going to Salzwiesen Park. Okay, so number 16 for me is Salzwiesen Park, and I have certainly seen this map ranked much higher by the community content creators. I've seen it as high as like number 6 or number 7 by some popular channels that I do watch and respect. So this map has a lot of lovers, and I have had fun on it. I have a grind set up. It's been fun. I've explored the entire map. And so this is a good one. I give it props for having 15 species, which includes 11 birds. I know there's some great one grinding on here. I don't really enjoy going for red fox because you have to shoot a male and female to clear it, which is just tedious. But the only thing I'll say holding this map back is that one, there are a common raccoon and a raccoon dog, and having both of those, to me, they feel monotonous personally, where it's just not really that interesting to have both on the map when there's so few mammals on this map. And then secondly, I really think this map sorely needs one small deer. And if they added a roe deer, especially with a new great one, that would be excellent. And if they do those kind of two things about adding, two more species to this map, this could actually rise quite a bit in my rankings because it's very fun. But I just think that these bottom three maps, Salzwiesen Park, Rancho del Arroyo, and Mississippi Acres, these form my bottom tier. Let's just call it like tier. I have 4 tiers. And so let's say tier 4, the bottom one, where to me they're just very niche. And so they will appeal to certain players. But for myself, I will commend it. It is very open. The field hunting is super fun, and it's very pretty, and it has really good landmarks. So this is a good map. It just needs a bit more to take it to the next step. Okay, and let's go to the next one, and that will be one that you're maybe surprised has lasted this long, but I actually quite like it. And on the topic of South America, we're going to go to Parque Fernando, down at the end of the world. So on Parque Fernando, this actually starts the next tier. I would say the third out of 4 tiers, where it's a pretty good map, we'll say. I think it gets a little bit too much negative comment or negative feedback on these ranking maps because this map is very unique. Look at these trees. They are wild and withered and cool. And there are several beautiful places on this map. But I do understand some of the frustrations with it for sure. And I'll give a few specific examples. So worst to me, do you see the shape of these lakes right here? This map is the worst example in the entire game of what I call a jagged or a star-shaped lake shape. So most lakes in the game are just nice and round and circular, and so going around the coastline, kind of like this lake. This is a standard lake. It's just easy to go around, easy to shoot, easy to pick up, easy to traverse, ultimately. And that's where this map, its lakes are not easy to traverse, and that prevents me from coming back to them. So, for example, if you're here, and then you want to shoot across the way, you want to shoot, well, you'd be a little bit closer, but let's say 300 or 400 meters, like right there, 300 meters, okay? Look how close that looks, right? But the thing is, instead of just kind of having like a nice round, easy edge, you have to do this jagged or star kind of shape. You need to go all the way out and all the way back in. And then again, let's say you're here, and you want to shoot across the way, you do it. Well, same thing, you have to go all the way down and then all the way over. And it's that constant back and forth, back and forth. And also to even add to that, these little parts at the end here, you would think that the water gets really shallow, and maybe you can kind of cross a little bit early, like right here, kind of cross over. For the vast majority of my experience, nope, it's still deep enough for you to sink. So there are several egregious examples of that. Like this lake here is terrible with it, with its black bucks. And if you just want to shoot, like if I'm here and I want to shoot across, you have to go like down this way and then way over and over and over. So I will say that has limited my desire to come back to this map several times. It's really frustrating. But on a good note, it has a lot of great species for sure. It's just kind of a shame that its water buffalo and black buck were replicated onto Son of Raton, and then also that its axis deer was replicated onto Emerald Coast, Australia. Those are both much better maps to hunt those animals on. So if not for that, there would be some exclusivity appeal here, but it's just waned and gone, and now the puma likely will be gone also to the upcoming Peru map. So this map does have a deserved kind of like diminishing shelf life. I get it, but it's also a lot of fun. And let's go to the next map at number 14. And this is going to upset a lot of people, but this is my personal list, and I don't have a genius level mastery of every map. I have an uneven experience. And so number 14 for me is a place I used to live in the United States. I used to live in Seattle in the Pacific Northwest. We are sadly going to Layton Lake for number 14. Ooh. I can already hear the typing happening in the comment section. Layton Lake is a place that is really beautiful. Like you spawn here in this part, particularly to go and hop amongst all these different water spots in like this area here for moose and for whitetail is super fun. It's just a map that I don't have the most playtime with. I have tended to come here on and off and kind of slowly make my way around. Like recently I came to this coast and found out that it's good for blacktail. So there's more fun to be had, and I will keep exploring it, and I'm open to reevaluating. I know that this is a community favorite, but simply put, when I started playing the Call of the Wild 3 years ago, I personally did not start on the free maps on Layton Lake and Hirschfelden. I started my play on the DLC maps. And so it's just a different experience versus the OG players that only had those two for a while, or any beginners that start on those two free maps, I just kind of cut my teeth elsewhere. And so there are pretty parts of this map, but there's also, I just want to say, there's only 9 species, and there's 3 great grinds you can do. It is good for deer, but I also just don't find myself too appealed to hunt blacktail when whitetail are just better. There's only 1 bird. And so I think compared to other maps coming up, you might kind of see that on paper, at least, it's a really good map, but I think other ones just have kind of surpassed it. Okay, and so next up, let's go to a similar map, the one that I'm just ranking ahead of this one slightly, the other free map of the base game, and that is Hirschfelden Hunting Reserve in the heart of Europe. So now we are in Hirschfelden, and I just really enjoy this map. It's a beautiful one. The nature of it is almost second to none. If we did actually, I'll do a video in the future of just the pure, most visually appealing maps based on their natural scenery, and this will rank very high, if not at the top. So it does have 9 species overall, and I think that it has a strength where you have all these great deer species and the fox and the boar, but you also add a class 9 predator with the European bison. And so that's just something that gives it enough of a danger kind of predator feel on top of the calm and fun and kind of fun gamey parts of going down to these fields. And I just will say I love going into these fields and farms and hunting and putting down blinds and shooting birds and also shooting from afar into getting deer and whatnot and fox. It's just really fun. But like, you look at this, it's a stunning map. I happen to find the scenery to just be more visually appealing than I do Layton Lakes. I love particularly the castles and just the European kind of fairy tale vibe that I get from this map. Also, just to say, there are 6 great ones on the map, and not that great ones specifically makes or breaks a map, but having 6 possibilities here, it just shows that even though there's only 9 species total, it does have 2 birds, 1 rabbit, but the rest of them are just all very strong. There's just a lot of fields throughout, and I've actually explored quite a bit of the map. Not everything, but I will continually, every now and then, dabble into Hirschfelden because it's just a classic map with a great feel and well worthy of the number 13 spot on the list. Okay, and with that, coming up next is going to be map reserve number 12. And this is actually a pretty tough ranking for me to put this one down low. I really love this map, but we're going to go to the total opposite end of the end of the spectrum instead of this beautiful sunny place. And we're going to go up to the isolated tundra. We're going to go to Medved Taiga. Okay, so we are here at the Bolshoi Lake Taiga, and if you know this map, I do believe this holds the record as the largest huntable lake in the game. If you know of a big one, comment below and let me know. I would love to find it, trust me. But just to go to the map, this huge place here is littered with zones for deer and moose and brown bear. It is unreal. If you put a tent like about right there, you can just go around and just destroy. So Medved holds a special place. A part of me wants to rank this as high as like 6 or 7. Ultimately, I rate it a little bit lower just because it does only have 8 species, and that includes 1 bird. Although I love the Western capercaillie. It's a lot of fun, has a lot of personality to it. But this one, wait, is that I've never seen a medium moose on this map until right now. Not even joking. That's gonna troll, probably, but you know what? While we're here, I've literally never seen a medium here. That's gonna troll. Yeah, I can tell. I'm not actually that worried about it. It doesn't have the what do you call them? The front 2 kind of extra places in it. You know what? Here, we'll go and shoot it. Why not get that on my first, recording here? And anyway, a little bit distracted, but let's go ahead just real quick with Medved. Only 8 species, 7 if you take out the 1 bird. So that's pretty tough. But I will say this map it makes you feel isolated. This map has a unique vibe all of its own, where you feel like you're on the edge of the world. And I love that. There are 3 great grinds here, which is really cool. But mainly it's just with the boar, the gray wolf, and the brown bear. Plus you add in the moose. Yeah, as I say, I knew it was going to troll, which is totally fine. But hey, that's still a good moose. We'll take a screenshot. It's just that there needs to be more variety, and this is one of the maps that would most benefit from a backfill. So let's hope it comes in the future. And also there is just the perpetual frustration of hunting for the reindeer, and they always troll. I do have 1 diamond from this map, and I'm lucky to have it, but it took me years to obtain. So This map, I can understand rating it higher because it has its own feel that is not replicated in any other map, in my opinion. But there's just other maps that just have more to offer. So I'm going to have it down here at 12, and that's I hope to show respect to it, but I know it's a little bit tough too for purists. Okay, and number 11 is probably a map that you've been long waiting to appear. There's a map in North America that commonly ranks near the very bottom. And here I am at number 11 out of 18. You're wondering, where in the heck is New England Mountains? How does this guy love this map so much? I am here to be a champion for New England Mountains. I am discovering that that is a early hill on this channel that I am going to stand on. Let's go to New England Mountains and talk about it. Okay, so New England Mountains, I think, is the most underrated map in the Call of the Wild. I commonly see it rated like number 17 or number 18 along with Mississippi, and I just cannot understand that. What I would just say quickly to give this map its due is if you have not yet made it up to this part, the actual mountain part of the reserve name, come up here to Champney Ridge and try this section out. Where it's located is away. The main game, I believe, starts down here in these farmlands. And then most players come along this stream here and this stream here and maybe a few lakes, and then they kind of stop. Or maybe you'll go your way up to the top stream. But what happens is that this middle area, it's kind of hidden and there's nothing really taking you here unless you finish the story maybe. There's a small stream in the middle that's just kind of minor. Make your way up here. And this is the actual mountain area. What I would say to you is that this has elements, a feel of Hamal from Thunder Baton. So good. And there are just animals all over the place. Earlier I came here and I spotted 3 within like 15 seconds of spawning. So maybe not this time. I wish I would have got that video recorded. But this area is actually very mountainous, and look at these views. It is stunning. I've come through here, and all around there are really good lakes, really good drink zones. There's bobcats and turkey. And the thing I will mention really quick is that New England Mountains, it has 15 species. That is by far the most of any map we've talked about so far. What I like about it is a class 2 specialist map. You've got the bobcat, common raccoon, coyote, gray fox, and red fox. And having 2 different foxes is pretty fun too, because they're each a little bit different. But there's just a lot of variety here on this map. If you're not the biggest fan, I urge you, come out here to Champney Ridge, check out this section, go through these water areas here, check out these lakes. And I think that it will give you an elevation aspect of it that maybe maybe you're missing and didn't quite experience if you were only in the fall foliage of the creeks. This is just a different feel. Next up, we're going to the number 10 map. And so this is going to be maybe, again, a controversial take, but what I actually have coming up, starting with Te Aurora, is going to be 3 maps where the red deer is the largest species. And so I think that naturally when you have a class 6 deer being the largest species on a reserve, it tends to not offer, of course, the high class species, the biggest games of other maps. And my own bias is that I prefer big game hunting. But the ironic part is that Te Aurora is my most played map because I went so hard early on in the first 2 years of my play to get a red deer great one, and it had never happened. Still has not. I have over 50 diamonds on this ridiculous map. So I have more diamonds of red deer, and I like red deer, of course. It's a great species. It's just, I just wish that something else happened, here. But just for Te Aurora, what I will say, I like that it's got 10 species, especially since they added the tar to it. I have heard really fun things about the tar grind up here in the mountain region. So that'll be something I'll try out in the future stream and series. We'll check that out. It's by far the best grinding, I would say, for red deer and fallow for sure. I got my fallow great one here, fortunately. So at least I have something to show for all my time on Te Aurora. But I don't see myself coming back here other than for tar. But this map is it's cozy, dreamy. It has this like fun culture feel with the story missions. It's just, I would say that it's not a nature stunner, so to speak, in terms of just its natural beauty. It's very nice. It's very pretty, but it's just not as jaw-dropping as some others. And also just one thing is that the feral pig, that's like the biggest non-deer species. So I just think that it's going to lack compared to other others. So, but yeah, and this is the fallow deer hotspot, by the way, for anyone looking for a fallow grind. Do not miss this very out of the way lake. This is the place. So it comes in at number 10 on my ranking, and then we'll go ahead and jump to one that I've had quite high, that I just prefer a little bit more to this in terms of these maps where red deer is the top species, and that's going to be Cuatro Calinas. I have Cuatro Calinas number 9, so right in the middle of the rankings, and I really enjoy this map so much. And just look at it. This is why. I don't have to say much. Just look at that. You can tell you're in Spain, you're in Europe, has these fields, the flowers, just, it is a visually stunning map. But also, it's one of the most open maps too. Running in these wide lanes here and seeing Iberian wolf and some of the ibex or mufflin species is so nice. But high level, what's nice here with Cuatro is that there's 11 species. Of course, 4 ibexes, which gives this map a uniqueness all to itself. But also want to shout out the Iberian wolf. When there's a wolf on a map, you have to carry an extra little weapon, a revolver or a bow or something. But it just adds a random element of surprise and danger. And so that elevates it to me a little bit over Te Aurora. And also, it's just a really good deer map. And I think that the grinds for red deer and roe deer are both solid options here. And also, I should say that we are, in my opinion, now in the next tier up of maps. So like my second tier. And so these would be just a very good map with almost nothing really notably bad to point out. But now we're kind of nitpicking. And now the next one, we'll finish up this kind of trio of maps that are the red deer headlined. And of course, that's going to be with none other than the home of the red deer, I think. And that is the Tornasheen, Scotland hunting estate. Okay, so we are here in Scotland, and just look, there's the cell. This map is just so beautiful, but specifically, it is this consistent mountainous, hilly terrain with the elevation where you can have so much visibility. I just think that it is a unique environment, and it's just an amazing offering. This down here is one of the best places to hunt for red deer in the entire game, period. My first run through here, I think I shot 11 red deer that were like a class 7 or higher. It was amazing. I think that Scotland has an excellent mix of birds as well and unique bird species. So that adds a lot. Also the mustelids, the 3, the pine marten and the mink, and I forget the third one. But those are just, this map, there's always something to shoot. And I think that's one of the biggest strengths for sure, is that if you're running around, this is an excellent run and gun map. Kind of like Rancho del Arroyo, but it just has more to offer, in my opinion. And I think that also this terrain, frankly, is just easier to navigate. So you have, again, like the fairy tale kind of feel with the castles and whatnot. Great music, but ultimately, and also I would say that the red deer grind specifically for this map is actually very manageable. It's even smaller and more manageable than it is on Te Aurora. So I actually have it going here, and it's gone quite well shooting it down. Very few zones to manage, so we'll do a kind of a guide on that eventually. And to me, this species list is just capped by not having, again, these high class predators. But that's not the fault of the game developers. That's just more of Scotland itself. And I think that they captured Scotland about as well as you could possibly ask for. So just an excellent map. Okay, so continuing in this tier, I would say we're still in tier 2, that are just like great maps with nothing notably missing, but just, not quite like the very top. This is one that's maybe near the top of my personal favorites and just my heart of hearts, but I have to acknowledge that it's just missing a little bit, and that is Yukon Valley in Alaska. Okay, so I adore Yukon, and what I would say is its biggest strength is it has these 5 big mammals, and that is the caribou, gray wolf, grizzly bear, moose, and bison. And that combo rocks my socks off. It's so fun. And so if any of those are out, there's always something neat and big and meaningful. The trophy hunting here is just so great. I have yet to get a diamond grizzly bear, but overall, there's always something rewarding to go for here. I have a current gray wolf grind going, and I've also grinded for moose, and I've gotten some diamonds and whatnot. So this to me also is the most naturally beautiful map, period, I think. It's just a total stunner. This area up here specifically, oh man, with these lakes is just something else. So there's a lot to love with Yukon. The reason it's at number 7 and not higher, there's only 8 total species. And then when you have 2 of those being birds, which is pretty good actually, I like that it has that, you're talking about 5 big mammals and a fox and then 2 birds. And it's just strictly, given the sheer variety that we have from other maps, it's just not enough. It really could use, again, some backfills, and I think this map would benefit the most of any, because look at this landscape. It is incredible, jaw-dropping, and you've got bison and all these just dangerous big game, just so much stuff that's really great. This map would benefit so much from having just a bit more variety to it. This is more where the quality is super high, but the quantity is just not quite there. But look at that. It's a stunner. I'm taking a screenshot. So Yukon number 7, I hate putting it that low. It has a wacky fun story mission, but just so few species that, it's an old map and it still has a lot of value. So definitely check it out if you haven't. Okay, and so now we're going to go into the top tier for me, tier 1, and there are 6 maps remaining, and I think any of these have an extremely valid case to be number 1 for anyone, just depending on what you're going for. And so we'll go ahead and kick off here, and rating any of these low is difficult for me, but I have to do it. I'm going to go off here and go to a map that I've really gained a lot of recent play in, and that's Reventuli Coast. So obviously, if you're really into waterfowl, this is maybe your number 1 or number 2 map. It has 19 total species, and 13 of them are birds, which is incredible. Now, on the flip side of that, why I have it at number 6 and not higher is just that there's only 5 mammals plus a rabbit, but just 5 large mammals. Now, I will say that they make the absolute most out of only having moose, brown bear, whitetail, because there's just always something to shoot. There's always something fun to see. And having so few other mammals, besides just all the birds, I've never had a lack for something to shoot and have fun with. So also, it's been great for trophies, great for grinding. I got a great one whitetail here. I've gotten some rare. I got a melanistic brown bear, which I jokingly call, if it's a melanistic brown bear, it's a black bear. But this map also, in terms of natural scenery, is like top 2, top 3. It has a case for number 1, and just look at that right there. And the distinctive feature I love about Reventuli, nature-wise, is right here. How you have these kind of slow, escalating hills, kind of rounded off hills, instead of like jagged peaks and mountains, which just means that this map, to me, is the number 1 map for traversal. It is so easy to just get around. The one thing that kind of tracks it down for me a little bit is that there's just too much water. Kind of covering all this area, to me, is just a bit much, where it's just so many little lakes that they kind of blend into each other. I do have a moose grind on here that's going pretty well, but yeah, I wish it was just a bit easier to kind of conquer. But if you're into waterfowl, this map rocks. And overall, I would say that it's a well-deserved tier 1 map. A few more mammals would help, but overall, I think this map, for what it needs to be, fully delivers. Okay, and so now let's get into my top 5. And this next map here is going. Actually, I have 2 maps kind of back to back that remind me of each other, and it's just one I have a slight preference over the other. But this next map here is an old classic that is still really good. Needs a little bit of TLC, but we're going to Colorado and to the Rocky Mountains of Silver Ridge Peaks. Okay, and here we are, and just look at that. This sells the map for being a top 5 map, right? This map is interesting because it is completely breathtakingly gorgeous at times, but it also definitely shows its age with some just textures here and there that could be better. Right here, what I'm going to highlight, the main selling point for SRP for me is its verticality. This map, you can spot things from so far away. Yes, it is a shooting gallery. I totally get that. But you know what? It's not bad to have a shooting gallery map in this game. That's okay. To me, it's good to have a map where it's just fun to run around and shoot. And if you're going to do so, like, this landscape is kind of perfect for it. Oh, let's see. Let me see if I can get a trailing shot. Not quite. Let's see if it goes down or not. Um, but I think that's a strength of this map is that there's just so much fun. You're shooting bison, you're shooting bear, you're shooting mule deer. Even the turkeys are fun. Um, there's 9 species, but what you have is one turkey that is a fun turkey, and then 8 mammals, and all of them are super fun. Oh, I didn't get it. Okay. Now, a con, of course, is this map lacks bird shooting, obviously, for waterfowl. There are, like I mentioned, rough old textures that just needs to remaster. And also, I'll just say that there are some large parts in the map, not too many, but the bottom left and the top right, for those areas of the map, to me, feel relatively empty and just kind of uninspired. But that is a small gripe when the rest of the map is just filled to the gills with something to hunt. So it's so fun. Yeah, I want to point out just this one part here. Specifically, I think it's the best highlight. So you're down below, and there is a lake ahead of you to go look at, but also you just look up here. And the render distance of the limit of the game is definitely tested on SRP, only up to 420 meters or so. But once you're in range, there will be animals popping up all over the place. And so it just really adds a unique element that makes this map feel, like the big mountain map that other ones simply aren't. So I just love this map, and definitely if you're a beginner or near beginner, or just looking for a casual good time, this might be the best choice. So definitely check out SRP, and it's a classic, long going classic, much revered for a reason. See, there you go. Look, there's Turkey. Okay, and next is a map that reminds me of SRP and how it's got this unique species with the Rocky Mountain elk and just all these mammals that are really fun. But it's just happens to do so in Africa, and I just like Africa a lot. So we're going to another oldie but goodie, and that is in the Vahanga Savannah. Okay, and here we are, and of course I've jumped out to also one of the larger hunting lakes in the game once this thing loads right here. If you want to see the Central Savannah, make sure you're going here, and it's just a circle of lions, Gensbach, wildebeest, you name it, at all times. It's so fun. But anyway, I want to give Vahanga a shout out. This is my number 4 map, and I do think that it is a top tier map because frankly, we don't have anything else from Africa. And so it's partially to the map's own strengths, but also partially to just EW frustratingly not giving us enough experiences in Africa. And I hope they do sometime, but that'll be a topic for another video. But this map here, if you look at the top 2 predators, the combination of the Cape buffalo with the lion is just kind of unmatched with any other map. And although the lion needs a remaster badly, actually they both do. They're just so fun to hunt. And again, there's a sense of danger here, but also I really think the nature and the run and gun nature of this map is criminally underrated. You can just get out and just go see so easily. Like right here, you can just come around and see and off of those animal actually. But this kind of right here is a good encapsulation of most of the map to me, where there's like rolling hills, kind of that Scotland sort of geography, where you can just look out, and as long as you're in range with the render distance, you can spot animals, and it's so rewarding and neat to see. You have that heat wave kind of effect too that makes you realize like, okay, I'm in a different part of the world for sure. When you come around and see blue wildebeest, you see Gensbach, or again like a Cape buffalo. To me, there's really no experience in the game like this one, and until they build another, a better Africa map, this is going to rank very highly. It certainly could be better for sure. It lacks bird hunting. It needs more species that are from class 2 to 5 just to add variety. And one critique I will say is that this, if you look at high level, there's that coastline around the entire border, like all the way around. That's a little ridiculous to me. I know it serves as a border, but having that much coastline that's kind of huntable is a little too much. I just think that, hunting for the lesser kudu, the warthog, the wildebeest, there's great animals here. It's like the SRP of Africa, in my opinion, and I just happen to prefer the Africa version. So, okay, and now we are getting into the top 3 of my top tier. And I will say these do kind of separate themselves a little bit, but again, these maps, I think all these are in the same tier because it just depends what you're looking for. Um, but for me, number 3 is a pretty easy choice, and we're going to go to a recent map. And actually, this is the first map that I kind of jumped on into the game. I joined the game in between New England Mountain release and Emerald Coast, Australia. and that's going to be my number 3 map. Okay, and so we're here in Moringa Pass, and Emerald Coast, Australia. I will argue that this is maybe the most balanced map, period, where there's really nothing severely missing per se. It maybe could just not have quite the high end of my top 2 choices, but this map rocks. 14 total species is impressive. Only 2 birds. But then you've got the kangaroo, which will punch you in the face, and they're so goofy and hilarious. We'll go and go down that way actually and just see what we can find. But also, I love having the feral pig here. The saltwater crocodile is absolutely the Crocodile Coast, specifically on the far east side of the map, is one of the iconic locations and hunts in the entire game. That's where you can go get all your cash and all your XP, and it's just fun. Crocodile rares also are maybe the best in the game for predators. I fortunately have a leucistic and a piebald, and they are just incredibly treasured. So I love that. The main thing I will say, though, is that this map might be the best for deer in the entire game, along with one on the map that we'll mention later. And that's because it has 6 deer species, which is incredible. You've got the red deer, fallow, Javan rusa, sandbar, hog deer, and axis. And to me, they're all pretty interesting. And I just love having different classes and different variety to a deer hunt. You can just find what you like. So to me, this map just rocks. There's really nothing wrong with it per se. Only thing I would say is just that it does have a class 9 at the Bantang, and then a class 7 species at Sandbar. There are other maps with like stronger class 7s and 9s. Like I prefer the Rocky Mountain elk to the Sandbar. The Sandbar ractus isn't that interesting, but it's a big bulky boy for sure. But I think like maybe it's just the very top end. But otherwise, this has a absolute claim for the number 1 spot, and it arguably has almost no holes at all. So Emerald Coast, Australia completely is an excellent choice. But there's 2 remaining, and I just think that these 2, they are opposite ends of each other, and it just depends what flavor you want. But they are the pinnacle of the game to me. But they still have flaws that hold them back from being like unequivocal number 1s in the game. There's just a few things that each of these did that keeps it open. It's kind of like debating Michael Jordan versus LeBron James in the NBA, where there's something in each. So we're going to talk about these top 2. And my number 2, not number 1, is going to be Ski Ridge in Canada. Okay, so number 2, and you come out to this spot. How is that not number 1, right? Ski Ridge is just incredible, and I would say this is the greatest hits of North America map for sure, where they combine to have 5 deer, but they're all epic deer. You got 6 great ones. They had 6 remasters, 4 birds, 4 new birds, and 7 total on the map. You add in the beaver just for good fun and to take out our revenge on it. This spot right here is actually where I got my first great one ever in the game, and it was a mule deer. So it's a treasured place for me in my entire gaming life. And then the scenery. I mean, come on, right? It gives you the snowy map feel, but you can also have other places that are more warm climate. So there's just an amazing variety. The nature here is awesome. I would say that this is the number 1 map in terms of just having the most species and also the most great ones. So what holds this back from just being the number 1 for me? The only thing really is that it lacks a predator feel. They had an amazing chance to bring in a remastered grizzly bear, which would have been so nice if they did, and or even a cougar. And if they had remastered the grizzly, this map would have had its iconic predator at the top. And instead of having just a entire lineup of like fresh new species, they have some reskins of species now. And I love the wood bison. I like the Manitoban elk, but the woodland caribou, it's a caribou. They all troll. But so there's just, this one feels like LeBron James in the NBA GOAT debate, where it just has quantity over everything. And it is the best quantity map in the game, no doubt. Really, there's no comparison. It just has all of it, and I commend it for that. But not having enough newness to itself, it feels like a greatest hits album instead of like listening to Thriller or something, right? And so that's where I will contrast it with my number one, which is a controversial, somewhat number one. I will say this map should have been the unequivocal number one, but it has a few things that opens up the debate. But Son of Prataan in Nepal is my number one map. Okay, we're gonna start here in Tiger territory, and this is why I love this map. Actually, I haven't shown this to you guys, but I actually have the king here with my tiger skin here. I flubbed the first legendary Bengal tiger that I saw in the wild. I did not have this on me. I had my 300, and it jumped at me at this sudden random direction for me, and so I got off an awful shot, and I ruined the harvest check. So after that, I carry this king around with me whenever I'm in the bottom part of the map, whenever I'm in Terai. So what I will say with Son of Prataan, I just think that it had 13 total species, which is a great number, but it had 10 new. Now it's only down to 9 because since then the tar has also joined Terra Aurora. But even then, this has the new and exclusive species feel that only Virhonga can match. But on top of that, it just has such a better landscape to it. I mean, the natural beauty here is incredible. The biome diversity, when you compare the bottom of the Terai region with area, and then you go up to the rugged mountain majestic beauty of Hamal, it's just you, and then the forest in between. The variety here is maybe the best of any map, I would say. This region here is so much fun to hunt and go on and to spot. And there's just, again, to me, there's a great amount of activity, that the primary strength is the upper tier, high class species, where you've got not only a wild yak, but you have a water buffalo, not only a Bengal tiger, but you also have a snow leopard, and you also have, the blue sheep and the tar, and then a nilgai just for good measure. There's so many large species here. The thing that really holds this map back, I do hate that there's just only one bird, and a gray lag goose is just not going to cut it. I think it's crazy that we have a map in Nepal that has one bird, and we have an Africa map that has one bird. I just don't understand how that happens. But then at Skeet Ridge with Canada had 7 birds. Like, explain that to me. And so that does hold this back. And one thing I'll mention too, I'm going to have a full essay to explain more thoughts on Son of Prataan, so I'll save it a little bit. Let's just say that there are some empty zones here. There are some empty times in this map where there is just a bit too much kind of inconsistency with its pace. And so I'll save that for a future video to go in detail, but that's one thing where I can understand this map not being someone's favorite, for sure. But overall, to me, this map feels like Michael Jordan, where it's at its peak. It reached the highest of heights. Following the game at this time was just so fun and exhilarating, and this was just an injection of new, unlike any that we've had in a long time, I would say, and maybe ever, up until we have Peru. And so, but there's a few things about it that held it back from just being the unequivocal number one. But grinding for tar is fun. Getting destroyed by Bengal tiger is great, and I think that this map has a danger feel with its predators that is just the best for someone like me that loves the big game. I just think that these maps that have like 9 or 10 exclusive species to them, that's something that we need more of. And so I have high hopes for Peru, Amazon. We'll see how it goes, though. But this is my conclusion of trying to rank all 18 reserves in this game. It is a tall task. Please comment below the things that you agree or disagree with the most, or tell me, your top 2 or 3 most favorite and your least favorite maps and why. I'd love to hear it. And ultimately, what I would conclude is that Expansive Worlds, or EW, they don't really release any bad maps, but they also they haven't yet released just an A+ 100% knockout map. Every map has had 1 to 3 glaring omissions where you're thinking, oh my gosh, EW, why didn't you do this thing? And if you did, the map would be perfect. And I'm expecting the same thing for Peru, but we'll see. So thank you for tuning in to Wild Diamonds, where we hunt for the rare and remarkable, and soon we'll be doing so in the Amazon, and I cannot wait. This is Paul, and until next time, happy hunting.